Hello, how are you doing? Hope you are keeping well. And I think that you have already attended one or two video lessons in this particular program of what you are attending, that is the design and facilitation of e-learning courses. This particular video lesson will be on understanding learning and instruction, and this will be one instructional video. I will give you some guidance how to attend this particular video, and I will show you the structure of this video lesson first. You see the structure, what I am going to present today in this particular video lesson. There will be lesson outcome and there will be a brief lesson guide. Then I will discuss what is learning, I will discuss nature of learning, I will tell you about the learning curve, then briefly touch about domains of learning. Then we will talk about what is learning theory, what is instruction, what is instructional theory, and a brief sum up. This is the lesson structure I presented you. Then what will be the learning outcome if you attend this particular lesson? After attending this video lesson, I can tell that you will be able to define learning, you will be able to discuss the nature of learning, you will be able to explain learning curve, you will be explained to describe various domains of learning. You will be able to discuss meaning of instruction, and you will be able to state what is learning theory and instructional theory. Why I have presented this, I will just explain at the end when I will come to instructions, because I have two topics here, understanding learning and instruction, and this part again I will take up when I will discuss instruction. Now there is a lesson guide. I like to guide you that when I will present the topics, definitely I will explain the topics, I will explain the concept. You will attend to my voice and the slides as well. You will find some important words I have highlighted with color, that is for retention. I have put some questions in between my presentation also. You must attempt those questions. You can answer immediately or you can answer at the end of the video lesson. I have put summary in between and at the end of the video lesson also. Now let us come to the content. Now what is learning? You know, since birth you are learning. However, whatever you have learned, can you recall everything? I will say no. You can't recall all information, all concepts and incidents, examples, process, whatever you have learned, you cannot recall everything. Again, whatever you have learned, if I ask you to explain, say for example some concept you learned when you was a child, when you were in school, college, then you have, at this moment you may not be able to explain or discuss that concept. So two things are here. One is learning and memorization. That means whenever you learn something, you will have to keep it in mind, you will have to recall in proper time, proper place. Another thing is understanding. If you learn something, but if you cannot explain, if you cannot discuss, then the learning doesn't take place. But what is in your mind? Will you accept those as learning if you forget something, or if you can't explain something? Will you accept those as learning? That is question I have put to you. Now, psychologists have defined learning from different points of view. Several theories of learning have been formulated, each with their background in a different psychological and epistemological tradition. Now, if you want to understand learning, then you will have to understand the theories. In this particular lesson, I am not going to discuss the theories in detail, but I will discuss the concept of learning from psychological point of view, or you can say that is psychology of learning. But in this particular course, you will come through several presentations where you will learn about different theories of learning. Learning, and briefly, can be considered as a process. Through this process, knowledge, skills, attitude, concepts, etc. are acquired. These are understood, these are applied and extended also. So what is learning? Learning is a process through which you learn, knowledge development, skill development, attitude development, concepts development takes place. You can understand and you can apply and extend those knowledge and skills and attitudes. Now, learning has been considered partly a cognitive process and partly a social and affective process. How it is a cognitive process? You know, the learning involves the functions of attention, perception, reasoning, analysis, to draw conclusions, giving interpretations, etc. Because whenever you learn something, you will have to attend to something. When you go through some stimulus, you will have to interpret that stimulus, so you will have to perceive it, that means you will have to give some meaning to that. Reasoning, analysis, everything includes learning. You will have to explain, observe phenomena, you will have to interpret, then only you can say. That's why just a few minutes before I told you that not only memorization, understanding, explanations, applications, analysis, everything includes learning. When you will go through this course, you will come through some theories and you will come through one taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy. There you will find that how the understanding, analysis, explanations, etc. take place. And at the time of defining the objectives of learning also we follow it. You will come to know about it in detail in other presentations. So all these things what I have talked about now are mental processes, and these mental processes relate to the intellectual functions of an individual. Now the next is social and cultural context. Learning is a social and affective process also. Whatever you learn in a societal context. You belong to a particular society, another person belong to another society. So you learn as per your society, societal context. You have a culture, another person has another culture, they belong to another culture. So you learn as per your culture. Then you have feelings, you have experiences. Whatever feelings you have, that influences your learning. Whatever experiences you have earned, that also influence your learning at later stage. So learning is social and affective process also. Now coming to a common definition of learning, Elleri's defined learning such a way, it is a process that brings together cognitive, emotional and environmental influences and experiences of acquiring, enhancing or making changes in one's knowledge, skills, values and worldviews. So what you get everything what I have discussed. You see cognitive aspect, emotional aspect, affective, environmental influences, your experiences, everything is needed. Everything helps you influence in acquiring your knowledge, skills. At the same time, everything help you to enhance your knowledge further. So this is a common definition of learning. Now coming to the nature of learning. Learning is adjustment. We continuously interact with our environment. We continuously learn and make adjustment to adapt social environment. Say for example, you are a student of face-to-face teaching learning system to now you are a student of ODL system or online or e-learning system. So what you are doing, you are interacting, you are adjusting with the environment. So new environment is with you, so you are continuously adjusting to learn. So learning is adjustment. Learning brings behavioral changes. Say for example, you were a trainee in a particular situations, now you have become a trainer. When you are a trainee, you had one kind of behavior, now as a trainer you will have to behave differently. So progressive behavioral changes of an individual help him or her to adjust in changing situations. So that is another aspect of learning. So keep in mind that learning brings behavioral changes. Learning is improvement. We learn through practice or training. This practice training help us to improve our performance. For example, you have started a computer training. Your practice will help you to prepare a better PowerPoint presentations. All the time maybe you have prepared something for presentations, PowerPoint presentation, another person will tell you that you can prepare in a better way. So you can learn through practice, you can learn through training. So learning is improvement. If there is no improvement, we will not say that you have learned. So learning is improvement. If you show the improvement, then learning will take place. Learning is an active process. Yes, learning has a purpose. If you learn with purpose and you take part actively, then only you will be able to learn. For example, I can say that for this particular course you have registered because there is a purpose. Your active participation will help you to successfully complete the course. If you want to learn in a passive way, you won't be able to learn. So active participation is very much important. Learning is goal directed. When the goal of learning is clear, then only you will be able to learn easily. Say for example, you have achieved some degrees and diplomas. Now whatever you have achieved, your goal of previous academic programs, it was clear to you. You wanted to have that. That's why you have achieved today, and today you can say that I have achieved the diploma, degree, certificate, etc. Now if you want to complete another course, that means your goal is clear to you. That's why you can complete that, otherwise you cannot. So it is a goal directed. Learning is always goal directed. If you do not have goal, if you do not know where to reach, then you cannot learn. Learning is continuous. This is very important aspect. There is no end of learning. Nowadays you have heard that lifelong learning, the word is, you will listen and you will see in a written and TV, newspaper, in any university, in open university, you will see the lifelong learning. There are learners, lifelong learners. That means you can learn throughout your life. Even you can continue to learn a particular content as the content is always revised and extended. For example, I will tell you, through this course, you will go through so many theories of learning. During the last several decades, number of theories have been developed, and you will see the one person who started learning about learning theories 40 years before, still he is learning that learning theories, because that time there was a different theory. Now after 40 years he has come to know about new theories. So continuously there is a change, there is extension. So learning is continuous. Continuously you can learn a particular concept throughout your life. This is very interesting. So now I will give you a self-assessment questions up to this. Can you define learning at this stage, whatever I have discussed? Do you think learning is active, goal directed and continuous process? Think very quickly, or you can answer these questions at the end of these presentations. Then coming to learning curve. Learning curve is a graphic representation of how learning takes place in a particular situation. This is also a very interesting aspect. A learning curve may be divided into 5 stages. It may be divided into 2-3 stages also. I am going for an example where the learning curve can be divided into 5 stages. Say for example, you have started learning computer at the beginning. When you learn computer, when you learn something from scratch, you didn't know anything about computer, then at initial stage your learning will be slow. So this is called period of slow progress, because you are starting in your lifetime, first time you are just going to learn this kind of computer. Any example you can take, but here I am taking the example of computer. Now after some time there will be a period of rapid progress. Now that rapid progress stage, what will happen, there may be better coordination of your mind and body, which was not there at the initial stage. So there will be a rapid progress, second stage. Then after that a time will come, there will be no apparent progress. It is also known as plateau phase. At this phase, the learner may be reorganizing the previous learning into a new pattern before further progress is made. That is why he or she takes some time. There may be decrease of motivation, there may be decrease in interest, loss of interest, or the learner may be fatigued. So due to these reasons there may be a plateau phase. The task may not be of uniform difficulty. When the learner is learning something, he may become bored, no similar kind of things I am learning. So there will be no apparent progress at this stage. After that, again there will be a certain rise at the end of plateau. There is generally a spurt in achievement. What is it? During this plateau, maybe that you have acquired better methods or techniques. Applying that better methods and techniques, again you will start learning very rapidly. So there will be a sudden rise in your learning. Then another stage will come, which is called leveling. We cannot continue to improve indefinitely in any given situation. Definitely the time will come when there will be a leveling. After that there will be very, very insignificant progress. So learning will reach to a stage of no improvement. So that is called leveling. There are 5 stages. Now I am showing you another curve. Now this is a curve what I have discussed. First you see the curve. You see how it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages are there. Period of slow progress, period of rapid progress, period of no apparent progress, period of sudden rise and leveling. Now you have gone through it. Now another important point is that the stages of learning curve that may vary depending upon the characteristics of the learner, because if a learner is very intelligent one, very skilled one, definitely he will learn in a different way. If the material is different, when the material differs, then automatically the learning curve will differ. The time available and conditions of learning also important factors on which the learning stages of learning will depend. Now there is another learning curve. This is for simple task. If you take a simple task, then there will be rapid initial improvement, and after that it will slows down slowly. But so curve is actually like this. Now there is a difficult task. In difficult task generally what happens, there is a slow initial improvement, but learning increases with time. Difficult task, so it's just opposite. So these are 2 other curves. There are various curves Now, I am giving you an activity. This is an activity. You may prepare your own learning curve taking into one particular situation into consideration that you can do, or you can do one thing, you can discuss with your colleagues or friends about their progress of learning in a particular situation, and you can prepare a learning curve. So, if you prepare that one, you will learn how the people learn, how the learners learn, and what are the stages they cross during learning in a particular situation. This is a very interesting activity and you can do it. Now, I am coming to domains of learning. When we fix the objective, formulate the objective of learning situations, then we think about three domains. One is cognitive domain, one is affective domain, another is psychomotor domain. Now, cognitive domain involves the intellectual components pertaining to the development of mental process, like remembering. At the very beginning, I talked about remembering. It is very important. Thinking, analyzing, solving problems, and so on. These are the cognitive domain. So, whenever learning takes place and whenever we prepare or formulate our objectives, we keep in mind that learner will be able to remember, will be able to analyze, will be able to solve problems like this. So, these are the cognitive domains. Then coming to the affective domain. Affective domain reflects the emotional and attitudinal components pertain to development of interest, attitudes, values towards certain ideas and activities. Now, this is a very important domain, but most of the cases we, the teacher, we do not consider this domain. But you know, it is very interesting. Say for example, if you want to develop interest to a particular course of the learner, definitely you will have to think about this domain. You can keep objectives from this domain. Say for example, learner will be able to develop interest to a particular course related to drug addiction or alcoholism or any social phenomena you can take, and you can try to create the interest, and you can change the attitude of the learner towards a particular thing. So, that also will come under affective domain. Then value system, that is also important area. Now, third one is psychomotor domain. Psycho, you know, psycho means psychological, mind, and motor means motor behavior, movement. So, definitely it involves the practical skills like manipulating tools, machines, or performing experiments, or engaging construction or building and so on. That means engineering and other activities. So, skill development is another domain. So, what are the domains I have talked about? I have talked about cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So, all these three domains are important. Now, coming to what is learning theory. Learning theory is an attempt to describe how people and animals learn. We are talking about learning theories, but what is that? It is an attempt to describe how people and animals learn. Now, how it helps? It helps us to understand the complex process of learning. But learning theories have two important aspects. Whenever you go through learning theory, you will see that there is a conceptual framework. The conceptual framework interprets the examples of learning that we observe. So, it is a conceptual framework. And second is, it suggests where to look for solution to practical problems. Learning, it is very important. Learning theory suggests where to look for solutions to practical problems, but learning theories do not provide solutions directly. They direct our attention to those variables that are crucial in finding the solutions. So, you will have to keep in mind. So, learning theories do not provide solutions directly. They direct our attention to those variables that will be important or crucial in finding the solutions. So, we will have to find the solutions, taking clue from the learning theories. Now, in coming to the second part, till now I have discussed about the learning. Coming to the second one, what is instruction? Instruction means any deliberate arrangement of events to facilitate a learner's acquisition of a goal. What is that? Any deliberate arrangement of events. That means deliberately you can arrange some events. Why? Because you want to facilitate the learner to achieve the goal. That is very simple. Now, what is the goal? The goal can be acquiring knowledge, can be acquiring skills or attitude, anything. So, deliberate arrangement you will have to make of events. Purpose is to facilitate learner's acquisition of a goal. This is instruction. Now, who are learners? Learners can be adults, learners can be children, anybody can be learners. For anyone, you can prepare instructions and you can arrange events deliberately so that the learning becomes easy and better. Now, what is the setting where you can do it? The setting can be formal, setting can be on the job or community, wherever may be. Everywhere you can give instructions, but it will vary. If it is a formal setting, your instructions will vary. If it is on the job, it will vary, and if it is community, definitely it will vary. You will have to consider the setting also. Wherever the programs of learning are being designed and implemented, you can go for instructions. Those who can be instructor. Now, any teacher can be instructor, there may be a training instructor, or there may be instructional designers. Anybody can provide instructions. There is no restriction. But effective instructions is very important. Effective instruction is informed by theories of learning, because if you want to provide instructions, then definitely you will have to go through the learning theories. Without understanding learning theories, without understanding how the people learn, you cannot provide instructions. That is so. Learning theories and theories of instructions are related. Now, have you noticed at the beginning of this lesson I have put some instructions? I have started with some instructions. Can you remember those instructions? What are those instructions? And how these instructions have helped you while attending this video lesson? This is a task for you. If you can do it, then better clear to you. I have given some instructions. In this course also you will learn 9 events of instructions that extends cognitive learning theory to instructional design. Say for example, gaining attention. Have I done something at the beginning of these presentations to gain your attention? Informing learning objectives. Have I informed you about the learning objectives or learning outcome? You can say. Presenting content. How I have presented the content to you? Have I followed a certain style or system? Providing guidance. Have I provided you any guidance? Yes, answer is yes. I have given you guidance for this video lesson, and I have helped you to enhancing retention, etc. So, enhancing retention, I have highlighted some points, some words, some sentences, and I have sum up, and at the end also I am going to sum up. So, these are for retention. So, these are events of instructions that you can follow for better learning. Now, what is instructional theory? Instructional theory offers explicit guidance on how to better help people learn and develop. That is again coming to guidance. Explicit guidance, how to better help people learn and develop. That is instructional theory. Now, instructional theory is focused on how to structure study material for promoting education of human beings. Have you gone through any study materials prepared by IGNOU or any other open universities? You have gone through, if you have gone through self-instructional materials or self-learning materials, you will find how the instructional theories helped us to develop those materials. I have given you some guidance, as I told you, that part by part presentations and guidance, objectives, presentations and self-assessment questions, so many things I have tried to include here just for a demonstration also, so that you understand what are instructional design and how these are used for preparing self-learning or self-instructional material. Instructional theory is influenced by different educational thoughts: behaviorism, cognitivism and constructivism. These 3. Detailed discussions you will come through. Next, so many presentations you will come through all these theories and instructional design also. Just one sentence: behaviorism focuses on the objectively observable aspects of learning. Again my example, you can remember that I told after going to this video lesson you will be able to define learning, discuss something, describe something, I told. So, these are behavioral verbs I have used. This is behaviorism, behavioral verb. So, this is observable. When you learn something and when you explain or when you discuss, then people will come to know that you have learned. Otherwise, how the people will learn? If you learn something, if I ask you, have you learned? You will say, yes, I have learned. But how do I come to know that you have learned? When you will be able to explain, discuss, describe, then only I will come to know that you have learned. So, this is behavioral aspect. Constructivism views learning as a process in which learner actively constructs or builds new ideas or concepts. Learners have own experiences. On the basis of their experiences, he can solve any problem or he can construct a new concepts. So, this is constructivism. And cognitivism mainly consider the brain based or that mental aspects. Now, coming to the summary, learning has been considered partly a cognitive process, partly a social and affective process. Learning is adaptation and adjustment. Learning brings behavioral changes and improvement in performance. It is an active, goal-directed and continuous process. Learning theory is an attempt to describe how people and animals learn. Instruction in any deliberate arrangement of events to facilitate learners' acquisition of a goal, and instructional theory offers explicit guidance on how to better help people learn and develop. Thank you.